So I want you to think back for a couple of years now, and there's been so many iPhones that came out that a lot of people weren't happy with that ended up getting better throughout time. And one of those iPhones was probably the iPhone XR. This is the classic case of an iPhone pretty much coming out or being released and announced, and a lot of people, including myself, not liking it. But over time, this iPhone ends up becoming probably one of the best and hopefully one of the more impactful iPhones, in terms of the price tag, at least, how not to price an iPhone. But I will tell you, this iPhone got price decrease after price decrease. And now, even though this iPhone is a little bit older, we are pretty much almost confirmed that this iPhone is going to be getting iOS 17 and is pretty much almost going to be getting iOS 18 as well. I mean, I really hope that ends up being the case. That means that this specific iPhone that is still supported with software that you can buy for probably around $200 or so is probably one of the better deals that you can buy as of right now. And I would still 100% recommending, buying a phone like an iPhone XR, because this thing is going to have so much capability and so much power behind it that it really doesn't make too much sense to go ahead and buy really any other iPhone if you're talking about, like a $250 or $200 iPhone. Now, the big thing I want to state is that design. Because this thing looks the way it looks and because it, performs the way it performs, this is easily one of the better performing iPhones at that price tag. And that is something that I always think about. When you get an iPhone, you want it to be fairly fast, you want it to be fairly, performance heavy and stuff too. And this is going to be one of those, iPhones, and that's amazing. It's a smooth performing iPhone. It has a lot of power within it still. And that design of this iPhone is still very good. Like, it still looks like a very, very good iPhone. It's not really missing too much there either. And that kind of stuff is super cool. And I love that so much. The camera quality was one of the things that always kind of, it only had a single camera setup. I feel like it could have had a dual camera setup at its time. But even now, there are still some iPhones that, with a single camera setup that still do pretty well. So I think that's probably one thing to keep in mind there too. So if you wanted to go ahead and buy an iPhone that was still pretty performance heavy, that isn't the best performing iPhone of all time, but it's still does a decent job. It still has pretty decent battery life, still has pretty decent, camera for the most part. This is a good phone overall. Is it the perfect phone? Clearly not. It's missing out some things here and there. But I think for that price tag, you should still 100% consider buying an iPhone XR, especially when you consider that this iPhone is pretty much still going to be supportive, with software for the next several years. So whether it gets unsupported this year or next year, you can still rock it for another year on top of it with security updates and whatnot. So that's still something else to kind of keep in mind as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.